Welcome back to Classic DM. This is Season 2, Episode 9, The Box. Boy, it's been a while since we had a big battle, and we're about to get into a bunch of trouble now. Lately, we've been doing a lot of our map drawing episodes because there's a lot of dungeon down below us. But this is the scene that we had at the end of the last episode. Our players on the right-hand side here, you can see the map the players have. This is one they discovered earlier when they thawed out a bunch of those frozen blocks in the first level of the glacial rift. You may remember that happened up in this area here. I'm going to use a little mouse cursor on this side. There were some frozen blocks, and they recovered all the magic items in those frozen blocks. And one of them was this series of these hand-drawn, scratchy maps, and some kind of a dwarven meets deep gnome meets Dwarger, Grey Dwarf writing, but it doesn't really match up. So with this in mind, they started working their way down into this main area here, and they had a nasty battle here. They originally this happened because the players fell through a hole in the roof to this white dragon lair where a mated pair were. That's a dramatic episode. Vrinjar decapitated one of the dragons in that one. Very nasty, very heroic. They worked their way into here, jumped a bunch of guards. We actually had the player community decide where to go from there. Do you want to go north back up towards the upper level or go down south? Who knows what's in this? Everyone chose to go push in deeper into here. And by looking at the map, it looks like this permeated series of honeycombs leads to some kind of massive throne room and a bunch of side passageways, and good lord, who knows what else is down here. So using that information in mind, we came into this first area here, and the players wiped out a bunch of guards. They had this gigantic horn to sound the alarm. They were able to kill them before they sounded the alarm. They pushed and chased some runners into this next chamber that has these huge big stone pillars, and that's the room you have before you now, with north is turned to its side for this episode. Now, in all other episodes, we usually have north facing up, so it's a little bit confusing this time. The reason for this is because this is a really long, oblong room, and it's kind of the way that you would face if you are moving through the dungeon yourself. So let's give you a quick little recap on, sorry about that. Let's give you a quick recap of where everyone is. So the players have come from this direction here. They had a number of frost giants here. There's a large set of wooden pillars, like a gate, makeshift gate. This is a big door that swung open. There was some frost giants in here as well. This is a floor-to-ceiling stone outcroppings that go all the way up to this massive cavern. Remember, this is a large cavern space. And over here was this beautiful frosty spring. Like a water supply source. So this, if you want a clean drinking water, this is about as clean as it possibly gets. Remember, once again, north is usually turned to the top for you, but for this episode, it's just turned to the side, to your right or to the east. So there's a large boulder type door here, and another boulder type door here, a number of crates stored here, and there was a number of torches. A number of them were snuffed out and blacked out. These are two frost giants who got slaughtered, and unfortunately some other frost giants made it through the door and ran away. And we actually allowed the players who pay attention to the show and want to vote on stuff, who follow the Patreon page, which is a free vote, didn't cost any money, it's not hidden behind a paywall or anything, to vote what to do. And the plans were either pursue the runners, kind of like EverQuest 1 style, down into this rest of this dungeon. But the players had this map. If you look on the right-hand side, that just leads right into this massive chamber here. Undoubtedly, it's going to be a throne room. And if you've been watching my map drawing episodes, if you haven't, you should check them out on the YouTube channel. It is a massive throne room, and it's a lot nastier than it is in the original module. So the players who read the module, maybe they knew that, maybe they didn't. We had a few people who voted who've never played this module before that I know personally, who are friends of mine, and they said no, let's not. The other plan was to retreat. And one plan was to stand your ground and stay in this room. So everyone has decided to stand their ground. We did a situation where Elafonissi, the monk, and Vrinjar, the assassin, did a hear noise check. And you may remember in my other episodes, I'm going to do a DM guide one day that walks you through some of my homebrew kind of rules that expands upon the first edition, where when you roll a hear noise check, what's happening? Let's say, let's do it right now. Say that Vrinjar was here and Elafonissi was here and everyone else is back here being quiet. And I want them to do a hear noise check. So you look on their character sheets under HN. So for Vrinjar, his hear noise check is 75%, right? Is that what his is? Move silently is 88. Hide in shadows is 75. Hear noise is, it's 95, isn't it? No, it's 35. It's really low. Sorry, the screen's kind of far away from me today. So he'd have to roll 35 or less. Let's just do that for here. Now this says he rolls 30. That means he does hear noise. Now what does that really mean in terms of gameplay? Well, it doesn't mean, well, yes, you hear a clanging sound. That's not it. It's more subtle than that. This is a check. So what I like to do is say, yeah, you can do a hear noise check and say you rolled it and you failed it. Like in this situation, it's a 78, it's a fail. I'll give you some kind of normal level of sound that you could hear yourself. Let's say you were standing in the college dormitory, or you're standing in the lobby of a large office building, and you hear the doorbell ring, the bell ring at the elevator, and you hear some people talking coming out of the elevator, and you hear the FedEx guy dropping off something, and another truck's backing up down the street, and you hear some woman talking to a security guard, and all these things kind of munt and mince together into the sounds of 5 to 10 people talking, coming and going in casual conversation. That's all I'm going to give you. So if you roll a particular check, I will give you more details. A woman's arguing with a security guard about her pass card not working. A federal specify is typing in on his little notepad about a package being delivered, and the people coming out of the elevator debating about whether to go get pizza or whether to go get a hoagie or something. So the more, if you make the check, you hear more particular details. In this situation, what we had was both of them, if I remember correctly, it's been a while, it's been about 3 weeks, 2 weeks, I think, both of them passed their hear noise check, and what we gave them was that the runners ran down the corridor and alerted other frost giants. We had Obscura, who actually has a sword that allows her to, if you look on her character sheet, down here, where is it on her sheet here? Do we have it on here? Cold wand, necklace, robe, or is it in the group party stuff? Here it is. The +3 Giant Slayer weapon. This is a weapon they picked up in the Steading of the Hill Giant Chief. Obscura is using it. It speaks all giant languages. So with a magical sword in first edition, which is really the very early days of this type of gaming, let's say the pencil was the sword and you're holding the sword in your hand. The sword communicates with you telepathically. The sword can tell you things, but you can't speak giant. So if the sword repeats back to you in giant, it could speak giant for you. So you could go up to someone in Germany and order yourself a beer. They say, "I'm gross a beer bitter," if you were the sword, but the person who is controlling the sword doesn't speak the language. So you could tell the sword telepathically, say, speak to German, to tell this person to do A, B, and C, and give me a Mercedes, or tell them I don't want to re-sign the release agreement, right? So in this situation, she could use the sword, even though she doesn't wield it. She could still hold it in her hand, just like, you know, Gandalf holding a sword in Lord of the Rings, and discover what was being said in general, but not with the kind of fidelity level that Vrinjar and Elafonissi, because assassins and monks have high levels of expertise and skill at hearing things, okay? I know it's like a long and drawn-out situation, but these little subtleties make a big impact on what happens next. So she was able to tell these other people in the party that the guards have been alerted. They've been talking about how this large group of well-armed humans have destroyed all the guards, named all the guards in the hallway, and they're very powerful, and they're coming. Get more help. And there's a bunch of scrambling and armor, metal jackets being put on, and battle axes. Go tell the king, and all this kind of stuff. What about the big wassail? And all this arguing's happening. So there's a big panic happening south, okay? So with a big panic going on like that, what our party decided to do was to take this door and pin this door closed, not with a heavy iron spike or anything, but this is a choke point. So if anything's going to come into this room, let's just use this. You leave the corpses here. Let's put a new frost giant here. If a frost giant going to come in through it, they can only go through one at a time, okay? So the party decided to set shop up to channel everything through a kill zone here. If you're a Warhammer player, you know what I'm talking about, or a military person. And so as frost giants come here, they decide to leave this torch here illuminated. So this torch here is going to provide light in this direction. I'm just going to move these kids out of the way for a second, okay? And this torch here illuminated. So we have another radius of light happening here. This torch is snuffed out, snuffed out, snuffed out, snuffed out, snuffed out. So when you come into the space and you look, what do you see? What you see is light this way. And so we have Mercedes and Zolaris holding the line with the cleric right behind it. And we actually had Obscura standing on the table, and that was just to draw the attention of any giant that comes running into this room doesn't see the druid, okay, because there's no line of sight through this pillar. No one will be able to see anyone behind this line here. Is completely obscured, and this is in shadows as well. So the druid is here. Vrinjar's hidden in shadows. Elafonisi's around the corner, hidden in shadows. She can peek through here. He could peek around this way, but he's staying hidden. And if anything comes rushing into the room, she can run and back and kite them in here. So it's a very EverQuest 1 kind of situation, very tactical type of a setup. So I'm just going to push these kids out of the way a little bit. And wow, it's really cold tonight. I may have to get a long sleeve shirt on or something. Let me see if I can get my producer to help me with that. Hey, can I get a long sleeve shirt? So let's get everyone set back up the way we had them. All right, so we had the two warriors. We had Zolaris and Mercedes here with the cleric right behind them. We have the druid around the corner here, Varenjar's hidden shadows here, and Elafonissi here. Elafonissi doesn't mind being further away because she has a much faster movement rate. With all that in mind, what's going to happen next? There's no buffing going on. There's nothing else happening on. What the giants have decided to do, and we have two corpses here, is send two giants into the room to charge into the room. So they come running up to the gate, okay, like this. I'm going to turn them towards you, and that they can see through the wood a little bit and tell that she's here, and she's actually going to start casting a spell. So I'm going to have Obscura start casting a spell, not to do damage, but to fool and cause confusion for these guys. So what she's going to do is intentionally cast a hypnotic pattern. Now, hypnotic pattern in of itself isn't really an amazing spell, but let me just give you a quick snap with that. So we just go here and go Control F and just say hypnotic. Okay. So hypnotism. Nope, not that one. Hypnotic pattern. Here we go. An illusion. Let me just get this spell up so you can see what it is, because I want you to understand how I like to rule for this stuff. Whoops. Let's go back. Where did we just lost that? There it is. Okay, we'll make this a little bit bigger too. Hypnotic pattern. This is a low-level illusion spell. It's only level 2. When the spell is cast, the illusion creates a weaving, turning pattern of subtle colors in the air. The hypnotic pattern will cause any creature looking at it to become fascinated and stand gazing at it as long as the spellcaster continues to maintain the shifting interplay of glowing lines, meaning that she needs to stand here and continually cast it and maintain it. It's like channeling a spell if you play any massive multiplayer games like World of Warcraft or whatever. So, note the spell can captivate a maximum of 24 levels or hit dice. Now these frost giants that we have running onto the scene, all these frost giants are hit dice 10. So you really can only fascinate 2 hit giants at a time max. But that's not her plan. She's using this tactically for a different way. So, there's a chance it's even creatures affected within the area effect was entitled to a saving throw. The saving throw will negate. That's what NEG means. It's a 2-segment casting time. In this situation, I'm just going to say you can channel it for as long as you want to, as long as you don't move. Casting time is relatively instantaneous, like a half a segment to start it off. The illusionist need not utter a sound, but she must gesture appropriately. So that's a really good point. With an illusionist, you need to have high dexterity, something I had a mistake with this character, the steadying the hill John GF. We fixed it since then. So you're the player, you're sitting at the table, casting hypnotic pattern at 2 guys that can't really see. Remember, these things are huge wood. You can't really see. You could just peek through here. Okay. Once you open the door and step in the room, you can see. But she's casting this on purpose. And why is she doing this? The idea behind casting this is to create a glow of lights, which she's going to cast here. And so we have this hypnotic pattern. And if you look at the spell one more time, okay, it gives you an idea of the range. The area effect is 3 inch by 3 inch. Now, in first edition, 3 inch is 10 feet. So that means a 30 by 30 area if she wanted to. So if she wanted to, okay, this is 10, this is 10, this is 10, this is 10. She could do this hypnotic pattern and encapsulate this entire area of the gameplay space, which is very, very, very powerful. But she's not, okay? What she's doing in particular and on purpose is controlling the hypnotic pattern spell to cast just on this weapon rack right here to be across this area with sparkles and colors, which will illuminate her, which will give her the sense of glowing rainbow colors happening all around her. It's just to make them stop and stand and stare and not focus on what's behind her, which is her allies. All right, let's play that out. So the first frost giant pulls open the door. He's at ready. He's got his buddy with him. He comes charging in the door. She's ready, and she's controlling the spell. He sees her. She sees him. Let's roll for initiative. The initiative is going to determine whether the frost giant can get there to her and get a hit on her, or whether she can get out of the way. Varenjar is hidden in shadows. Elafonissi's hidden in shadows. She's going to wait, and the druid is here waiting to see what happens too. She has a plan to jump off the table and go around this way. Okay? So, as always, we like to use the black dice. They're not from Traveler. The black dice for the baddies. So let's give the initiative roll for this first frost giant. He's 10, 15, 20 feet away from her. So what do we got there for him? Let's just get this pencil out. We'll use this like our casino table here. 5, 6, 7, 8. And for her, I'm going to give her an individual roll. And the reason I'm going to do that because it's only fair because she has high dexterity and she's by herself. So her reaction is going to be modified by her reaction attackment adjustment, which is +1. So you're going to add 1 to this roll here, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14. So she wins the initiative roll. There's no surprise here. That means that he's going to attack no matter what. So he goes 1, 2, 3, 4, and starts moving, but she gets to move first. She's going to control the spell till he's here, drop the spell, then turn and jump down and go 1, 2, 3, and then turn around and face this guy. So he's going to run forward. Now he can see this out of the corner of his eye, but she's no longer channeling it, so the effect dies away, right, because she's moved. That momentarily distracts him, just in time for Mercedes to come rushing forward, and we're going to do an initiative roll for this group, an initiative roll for this group over here, and then he can take a step here. So now we have an interesting situation where he saw her jump off the table's in a way, he can only go around her. So he's moved 2, 1, 2, he's going to be right here by the druid, trying to pursue her. The druids are here right next to him, and so is Varinjar. Now he's facing her. Now one thing I've been doing in the game is I've been making sure these guys are turned towards you. And I'm going to slide the camera in a little bit closer here so you can see this battle a little bit better. Okay? Let's see if we can just slide this down a little bit. It's worth doing, actually. Absolutely worth doing. Bear with me while I adjust the camera positioning for you so you can see things a little bit better. We'll pull this down like this. Pull this up so you can see that. And we'll slide this over here a little bit for you. You can see more of the room. And you can see more of the fight. There we go. I will try to do this often. Great. Now you can get a better sense, a close-up view of what's going on. So we have the Frost Giant here. He's made it this far just in time to be with his back exposed to the Druid and to Varinjar. Varinjar's going to attack this guy from behind. Now what I'm going to do to be fair here is I'm going to give the Frost Giant a chance out of the corner of his eye to see the Druid in turn, because the Druid doesn't have stealth, okay? She has pass without trace, but she's not stealth. She's kind of in a bad position. If you're a player and you're standing here, I'd be like, hey, you know, he might see you. So how do we want to do that? There's no rule for like, do I see someone out of my peripheral vision? So let's just say this guy has 10 intelligence. I'll give him a 3d6 roll. If he rolls 10 or less, he actually sees the Druid out of his corner of his eye, okay? 6, 7, 8, 9. So he doesn't. So he believes, and remember, he's completely concealed in shadows, and this is all darkness, and you can't see anything. So he believes the illusionist is here. Obscura takes a step forward just in time for Varinjar to do a backstab, and the druid's going to take a swipe at him too. This guy's going to get a chance to move. He just came in the room, so I'm going to give him 1, 2 steps for now, until he sees what's happened. The patterns fade away. He sees the torchlight. He probably sees what's going on here. He's looking at his friend. His line of sight is going to be about this, right? We got marker all over us. All right, now let's have some fun. So what's it going to take for Varinjar to nail this guy? So these guys are armor class 4. And remember, Varinjar's a beast, man. We always use the red die for his offhand. You take 2 away from that because he's dual wielding these black axes. For him to hit AC 0, he only needs a 12. These guys are AC 4. Okay. Let me just put this right about here for keeping track of stuff. Just going to put this about right here. There you can see, you can track it at home. Okay, these guys are all 80 hit dice, full health. So to hit this guy from behind, you take that 12, take away 4, which means you need an 8. Okay, only an 8 to hit this guy from behind. It's a backstab, that's a quad damage. We're going to take 2 off this die, right? So the main hand misses completely, and the offhand is a 9, so the offhand hits barely. Now the damage on his weapon is 1d8, and there's a, let's do a simple 1d8 on this one. A 1d, oh, it's only a 1. Wow, that's a really low roll, really, really low. But the good thing is, because he has this piece of magic, this magical girdle on that he got a long time ago, this girdle of fire giant strength. This is another looted item from that room with all the frosted stuff, with the characters, the old adventurers that are frozen in blocks of ice. There was a Patreon poll. You should participate in these polls. They're really cool. They you get to pick who gets to loot. So we didn't do a loot roll or anything weird like that. It's not like an EQ or a WoW raid, or you have to do DKP points. So the Giant Slayer sword from the Steadying Hillside Chief went to Obscura, but Varinjar got the jeweled belt, the Girdle of Fire Giant Strength. This gives him a 7,500 pound weight allowance. That's very heavy, heavier than a car. Plus 10 damage bonus. Because he has +3 weapons, it's like an enhancement bonus from second, or 3.5 if you remember. So it's +13. So the 1, okay, becomes a 14. I'm just going to write this right here for you. That's multiplied by 4, okay? Because you look in the lower right-hand corner, 14, he does quad damage, backstab damage from surprise. That's 56 damage. So this guy takes a ton of damage right out of the gate. So we're just going to mark this off here. We have 56 off of 80, and that's going to give us what? Do the math. 24. Wow, that's nasty. That is a brutal hit from behind. So this guy here, we're going to call him number 1 because he's the first one to be damaged. He's already taken 80 damage right off the bat. Now the druid's going to get a swing. Now, you know, she's there with her scimitar. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing amazing, nothing too incredible, but let's give her a swing too. To hit AC 0, she needs a 12. These guys are AC 4. She only needs an 8 as well. She only needs an 8. A 1, she flubs. Let's create a flub for her. You're taking your scimitar, you're thrusting it. You completely miss. You take a step and lose your balance perhaps. Let's give her a dex roll, see if she loses her balance. I'm going to make it a disadvantage in a d20. So her dexterity is 12. You have to roll 12 or less on a d20. She does. She doesn't lose her balance and fall down, but she stumbles and is out of position and then can turn herself back around to fight him. So she's out of position now. I'm actually going to have her turn. Her flank is exposed. This guy gets hit, very heavy hit from behind. She's right here. This guy's right here. Now let's roll for initiative one more time. This guy just witnessed his buddy getting hit. He's going to do a flinch when he's gotten hit. She hasn't had a chance to move. No one over here has had a chance to move. Let's just do a good, clean initiative roll from scratch. Those opening moves have already taken place. So let's give the bad guys their 3d6. Okay, which is going to include both of these together. Oh, that's nasty. That's a 12 plus 3 is 15. So the baddies get a 15. We're going to do a full party initiative roll here, okay? Everyone. And this is a 5 and a 5. Oh, it's a 12. And so this is 12. This is 15 to 12. So the Frost Giants win, okay? So that means they get to move first. If you got hit in the back that hard, you would immediately turn and take a big sidelong swing. Now these guys, I've got them much more powerful than the original version. They're using very powerful two-handed battle axes. Okay, not swords, not little 4-foot swords, 6-foot swords. These are like 12-foot long, huge two-handed battle axes. So as he turns, what he's going to do, he's going to swing a big wide swing, and if he makes a successful roll to hit, he's going to hit both characters. But if he doesn't, I'm going to have him just hit this wall here and get knocked out of position. So we're going to do the roll to hit on the druid first. Okay, because he's just swinging wildly, just not trying to hit anyone in particular. So the druid is AC 0. To hit AC 0, these guys need a 10. There's an 8, so he misses. So does he hit Varinjar? Let's be fair and give this guy a follow-through swing. He misses the druid. Maybe she kind of ducks down a little bit and shifts her position like this. A 6, he misses Varinjar as well. So this guy's out of position, did a full 180-degree rotation swing, and the axe is out of position. Now he's exposed to being attacked by Varinjar and by the druid right away. This guy gets to do something. So here he is. The movement rate of these guys are the same as players, 12. So in a segment, you know, it's basically like 20 feet, okay, 15 to 20 feet, which is like 4 squares. What's he going to do? I'm going to have this guy take 1 step, 2 steps onto the table, and then 3 steps and jump down and swing his two-handed axe, trying to hit both Zalaris and Mercedes at the same time. Okay? If you're a player and you're playing a Frost Giant, that's what you would do. Let's refresh your memory. Mercedes is AC -2. She's wielding a two-handed sword. She'll be ready to defend. Zalaris is using a burning glaive. He's got the glaive held in 2 hands in like a mounted position in front of him, ready to spear anything, kind of in front of him like this. Mercedes got her sword out to the side. He's going to get a swing. He has to roll to hit on either one of these to land a hit on them. So let's just do the swing first on Zalaris, because it's a right-handed swing. So to hit AC 0, these guys only need a 10. So they're going to need an 11 because Zalaris is AC -1. Ooh, a natural 20, that's double damage. This damage is just nasty. So Zalaris has taken the full brunt of this hit. In fact, I'm going to rule that the hit is so heavy and so hard that it doesn't fall through and hit Mercedes, that she's able to 1 step back. He takes the full brunt of the swing, maybe tries to parry it and deflects it right into his own chest. It's 6d6 damage on these things, okay? Very nasty, very nasty. Ow. We're going to roll it right here so you can see it, okay? Whoops, that's not a good roll. It just like fell out of my hand. Come on, give me a noisy roll. There we go. 5 and 4 is 9, and 4 is 13, plus 3 more is 16, and 17. All right, so we haven't gotten damage yet. We're just going to start from the top here. And let's get not Varinjar, but Zalaris. And he is at 156. normally. Let's just call this a hit point pad. And he just took, how much did we take here? 5 and 4 is, this is 9, this is 13, 17 damage total. So let's just do the math on that one real quick. 156 minus 17. No, I haven't bought a calculator yet. 156 minus 17. 139. So we're just going to put this down like this, 139. And I'll add other characters to this sheet as we need them. So that's a pretty nasty hit, but not a lot of damage. So let's just say, you know, he tried to defend, but oh, I just made a mistake. That's doubled. That's 34 damage. What am I doing? Pay attention here, dude. 156 health minus 34. There we go. That puts him down to 122. Got to keep this fair now. Keep me honest. It's not down to 139. He's to 122. That's a nasty hit. It's not. It's less than 20% of his life though, so it's not that big of a deal. But that's a great hit. So this guy's. I'm going to have Mercedes pushed back. He's the front line force now. The cleric's going to shift over to here. We have Obscura who hasn't done anything yet. He just did his attack. Now we can have counter attacks. So what I want to do here is I want to have a counter attack happening with Zollers off the bat, and then I'm going to come resolve the combat with these two, okay? And we still have bodies lying on the ground here. And they had to step over them, but whatever. This is a frenzied fight. He said they're defending their home. It's not like, oh, well, let me just not step on the dead guy. Their morale's not going to be broken by that. So let's just do Zollers. Remember, Zollers, these guys are only AC 4. To hit AC 0, he needs a 6. Just take 4 away from that. He can only miss on a 1, okay? He needs a 2 or higher to hit. There's an 11. That's an easy hit. His damage is 1d8 plus 5. He also has additional burning damage. So the burning damage will always be red. I'll try to remember that from now on. So 1d8 plus 5. That's 5. And that's 13. So we got 13. And we have additional burning damage of 3 for 16. That's not a hell of a lot of damage. And we're going to take 16 off of 80 here. 80 minus 16. 64. So this guy's got knocked down to 64. And these guys aren't even on the scene yet. Alright, more combat to resolve. So these two have been resolved. And now we're going to move back over to here, to the Druid and to Vrinjar. So now it's just regular straight up combat. We're going to let the Druid go first. We're just going to go around the table as opposed to trying to give anyone any special treatment or anything. So the Druid, she needs to hit AC 0. It needs a 12. These guys are AC 4. She only needs an 8. Can she do it? A 16. Yep, she hits pretty well. Let's get a damage roll for her. It's only 1d8 plus 2, which is not impressive, but you never know. 1 plus 2 isn't very much. It's 3. So this is the first guy here. This puts him down to 21 health. He's getting pretty low. Getting pretty low. That pin's got gunk in it. Let's get a new one. I've got 5 million of these things. Okay, now let's do Vrinjar. Vrinjar will slaughter this guy. There will be no chance in hell that he'll live through Vrinjar's damage. So once again, the main hand, what we like to do, make sure I get this on camera, I do Vrinjar's main hand with the red d20. And anything I happen to grab that's on the table with the other ones. Because the main hand always gets 2 taken away from it. It's not like Dranger's dual wielding or anything like that. It's just good old-fashioned, old-school dual wielding. Homebrew rule, a little bit to me, but that's the way I like to run it. So to hit AC, he needs a 12 to hit AC 0. These guys are AC 4, okay, which you can see right here. This is where the little AC 4 is right there for them. So he needs an 8. You take 2 off the first roll. Take 2 off that is 13. That still hits. And this one needs a full hit, so this is 2 full hits. Let's do his damage. His damage is going to be 1d8 plus 13 on the main hand and on the offhand. Okay. There's 1. There's a 7 and there's a 3. So let's add this up. We're going to need to do this to keep it nice and mathematically clear. So 7 plus 13 is 20. And 7 plus 3 is obviously 10. So 30 damage. That's enough to kill this guy. He's at 21. Both axes just, I give the player an opportunity to describe it dramatically, right? So he takes both these axes, left hand, right hand. The left hand just kills the guy flat out. The right hand just cleaves him in half and spills his guts open. So this guy stumbles, flumps into the table. In fact, I'm going to give a chance to do something here. I'm going to say, listen, tell you what, give me a D6 roll. Actually, you know what? Make it a percentile roll. 50% or less, the guy fumbles in place. Anything higher than that, he pushes and bangs into the table. Anything higher than 50%. Oh, 4. Okay, so he slumps and falls over and caves down in place. So the Druid takes a step back. He can actually take a step forward to his fallen foe because of the follow through. Elafonisi's in the back when you give her a chance to do something. So what Elafonissi is going to do instead is she's going to slip down here into shadows and move to this position here right here. So if anything else comes to the doorway, she can possibly intercept and stun. She's a stunning machine. Now, I know there's been some debate in some of the Facebook groups. There's another fellow on the Facebook groups who's really smart, really great player. I think his name's Mabry is his last name. I think it may be Jeff Mabry. He has a big debate with me about monk damage. But at low levels, monks are weak. But at levels that she's at right now, her stuff is pretty nasty. She's done a good job, and she's also done a good job of busting her chins on bed rails. So we still got this guy alive here. Obscura hasn't done anything. I'm actually going to have Obscura slip past here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Have her move to here. Have the Druid is going to slip back around here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to have Renjar slink back into the shadows here and then hide in shadows. So let's give Obscura free movement to here. And let's Renjar do his hide in shadows. So let's get you the roll for that. He does need to move silently because he's not moving. So hide in shadows is 75% for him. That's a 36, very easy. If you see on the sheet down here, this is 75%. So he's reconcealed himself in shadows. Obscura has changed positions for whatever reason to be close to Elafonissi. And now we have this last guy here fighting. Mercedes is going to try to flank around. 1, 2, 3, 4. Give her 4 steps. I'm not going to give her a swing at him yet. She's not quite in range. The cleric is just at ready. The cleric's just going to shuffle step back 1 like this. All right. Let's do an initiative roll between these two, okay? So this Frost Giant isn't really that badly damaged. He's only barely been hit. So what do we got for him? We got a 6, 7, 8, and a 9 for him. Okay, let's put this up here so you can see it. There you go. And let's get Zolaris's one-on-one roll. Sorry if I make mistakes with the name sometimes. It's been a while since I played these kids. Zolaris is going to get a bonus for his dexterity of nothing. He only has 15 dexterity. So his is 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11. So 6, 7, 8. So he wins the initiative, so Zolaris gets to go first. All right. Let's just put these dice out of the way here. And once again, remember, he only needs a... He'll only miss... That's a 6. Sorry, I rolled it off screen. He can only miss on a 2, so only miss on a 1. So he nails the guy. The damage is 1d8 plus 5. So that's a 1 plus 5, which is 6. And there's another 1d8 for burning damage, which is 7. So that's 6 and 7 is 13. Let's take 13 off the 64. 51. This guy's dead. Gotta like it. Alright. I'm going to give the Giant a chance to attack back. The Giant to hit AC -1 to hit AC 0. They only need a 10. He needs an 11 to hit Zolaris. A 3, he completely misses. So a 2 hit now gives Mercedes can now close the gap and take a swing. Mercedes is the same kind of situation. To hit AC 0, she needs a 6. To hit this guy, she's going to need a 2 or higher. So equal 2 or higher. A 1, so she completely flubs. She takes her two-handed sword, comes up from behind, and gets ready to swing and hit this guy as hard as she possibly can. But perhaps he moves during the fight, and the overhead swing crushes and smashes into this table, and she falls through and takes it a step forward. I'm going to give her a disadvantage dexterity check to see if she loses her balance. So in this situation, her dexterity is 15. 15 or less on your d20 roll. Okay, that she meets it. She doesn't lose her balance, but she's out of position, and she got to take a second to turn around. Now, let's give this guy a chance. Did he notice that happening, or does he want to turn around and take a swing at her? Let's do a good old-fashioned roll here against his intelligence. 10 or higher, he stays on his original target and doesn't notice Mercedes. 10 or less, he notices her and tries to do something about it. Okay, so he doesn't really notice this happening behind him. He's so focused on Zolaris. If he rolled 10 or less, I would have him turn and try to do something about her with her being out of position. When someone's in a non-tactical position or lost their balance, that's a good time for someone in close range to cleave you or hit you or what have you. So he maintains his guard. So what's happening back down here? Is any more noise coming up? She takes a peek. I'm going to say, go ahead and give me a hear noise check there, Elafonissi. You know there's a big battle raging over here. So Elafonissi's hear noise check is a hear noise only 30%. Okay. 96. She hears the sounds of distant roaring and yelling and clanging. That's all she can tell. I'm going to have Obscura come to here and see if she can detect any kind of speaking or language. So let's get Obscura here. Let's pull her up. So the way I do this with her is her intelligence is 18. I'm going to make you roll a d20, your intelligence or less. That's an 18 equal. That's because it's so close. I'm going to grade the quality of what you understand to be less. If you rolled a 1, Okay, it would have been like you hear everything clearly because she's trying to use the sword. Remember, she has the sword that speaks giant languages that she got from loot items here, this Giant Slayer. She doesn't wield the sword, but she's holding it in her hand. So what she hears is the sound of guys running away, and the large sound down the hallway, a bunch of roaring and cheering. So it sounds like a big party is going on down this way. What are we doing to roll that? Let's do it this way. Down this way. Big party. Like whooping it up and having fun and singing and things like that, like a massive Viking beard smashing festival, right? But no, and the sounds of guards running away. So the sounds of giants running away, but not yelling alarm, alarm, alarm or anything. So she's not really sure what to do. She turns to Elafonissi, they talk about it. She says, let's just stay here, so don't do anything, but I need you nearby me, tell me what's being said. The druid comes over here and confers with them as well. Vrenjar is here and says, let's pull back to the rest of the group and help with this fight. So Vrenjar's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Next round he'll get to do an attempted backstab. Now let's do an attack between the giant attacking on Zalaris. So let's get our sheet back up for Zalaris. A 17 to hit AC 0 needs a 10. That's an easy hit. It's 66 damage. Here's 4, 5, 6. We can roll that over here so you can see it. So we have more damage on Zalaris. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 4 is 14, and 5 is 19, and 24. So 24 damage total on Zalaris. So 24 from the 122. Pretty easy math on that one. What does that give us? 98 or something? He's gotten hurt pretty bad, but not that bad. That's from 156 now. So that's 33% of his life gone. The cleric's going to step forward and do a little 3d8 heal on him. Nothing too incredibly amazing, just something to mitigate some of the damage. So that's going to give him an 8, and an 8 is 16, plus the additional 5 is 21. So let's put 21 back on him. So the 98 plus 21 is going to pretty much nullify that last hit. Let's put him back into 119. So Zalaris has been the frontline fighter so far, taking 1 or 2 hits. So he's at 119. He took a swing. Now Mercedes gets to take a swing. She would see Vrenjar hiding in shadows slipping up like this, because when you're hiding in shadows, you want to do it in a way where your teammates can see you, but the enemies cannot. You're not invisible, okay? You're moving yourself in position so they can't see you through where their eyes are looking and using shadows. So he's coming out of the shadows to backstab him. Mercedes is going to take a two-handed sword and just lunge and stick at this guy in the spine. I'm going to make it where she cannot miss at all, except on a 1 because the guy's being struck from behind. All right? Let's get her sheet up for you for the damage roll for her. A 10, that's a normal hit, not a double damage hit. For her damage on giants, you can see large giants, 3d6 plus 5. We got our 6-siders right here. So what do we got for her? 4 and 3 is 7, 8, 9. 9 and 5 is 14. So we're going to take 14 health off this guy here. He's at 51. So what does that give us? 51 minus 14 puts him down to 37. Okay, that's pretty nasty. Vrenjar will polish him off. Vrenjar's going to get 2 swings on this guy. This is going to be a surprise backstab once again. Remember, he only needs to hit this guy with a 4, doesn't he? Right, 12. I'm going to give him a bonus of 1 because the guy's from behind and not actively defending from behind. He's not flat-footed completely. He's in combat, but he's not complete like surprised and sleeping and something like that. He's in combat in a ready stance. His legs are bent. He's all ready to move. If he feels something hit him, he might try to move out of the way, but let's see if we can get a hit on him. So he will normally need an 8 to hit this guy. I'm going to give him a 7 or higher. Let's take 2 off the red roll. That's a miss on the main hand. And offhand's a 19 that hits. So the offhand damage is 1d8 plus 13. 6 plus 13 is 19. So this guy has 37 health. See this right here? 37. Let's just take the 19 off of that. It puts him down to 18. This guy's really wounded. This is a morale break situation for this guy. And now if you're a war gamer, you probably have ways of doing this. You play Warlord or Bolt Action or Hail Caesar or Pike and Shot, or you play Squad Leader or Panzer Leader or Warhammer 40k. There's ways to handle morale breaks. I kind of wing it a little bit, okay? I don't have an official rule that's printed in stone. But here's what I'll do for this situation. This guy's surrounded. He just took a huge hit from behind from Vrenjar. He's got a guy here and sees another guy just cast a spell. She's taking a swing at him with her 2-handed weapon. She just damaged him. Didn't she do damage with him as well? No, she didn't do her swing yet. Let's do hers next. Actually, I did her damage. So her damage did him. Yep. Then he did his damage. That's right. He was going to polish off. His turn now. He's going to try and push through these guys to move into this area. So he's going to try to take us push with his two-handed axe, push Zalaris out of the way, and in the process, everyone have to take a step back. So how am I going to rule that? I'm going to make him try to do a roll to hit on Zalaris with a -5 penalty. So he only needs a 10. Okay, he only needs a 10 to hit AC 0. He normally needs 11. So now he's going to need to add 5 higher than that. He needs a 17 or higher to successfully achieve that move. If he doesn't do that, 14, so he doesn't achieve it, which is what just happened right here. You see this 14? He didn't achieve it, so he's pushed, but Zalaris is able to evade, but maintain position and keep him boxed in, so Zalaris can immediately counterattack. So remember, Zalaris can only miss on a 1, so there he goes with a 1 right there. So he tries to puncture him with his glaive. Maybe that glaive runs forward with the right hand, sticks into the wall, creates an opening here for him to try to go for the opening. But since he's tried to move, okay, as opposed to fighting, I can have the cleric take a step forward and block his path. So our cleric's going to take a step forward, seeing that Zalaris took a lunge forward with his glaive. And let's get Antola up here and have him take a swipe at him. Actually, the Antola has a good to hit AC 0 numbers. He only needs a 10 to hit AC 0. These guys are AC 4. That means he only needs a 6, a 9. So Antola actually nails the guy with his flail, which does to giant targets. It's just 2 to 8. Let's just make it simple. 2 to 8. There's no bonus damage or anything. It's a +4 flail. So 2 to 8 +4. So a 3 and a 3 is a 6 +4 is 10. So we're going to take another 10. This guy's way down to 8 health. You see this? 8 health. This guy's bleeding profusely. His back is damaged. Probably hobbled. Probably close to being knocked unconscious. All heart, baby, right? This guy's in bad shape. So now let's just go ahead and randomly pick. Let's do a weapon speed situation. We don't use a lot of weapon speed in my games. But in this situation, I'm going to do that. Who's going to get the fastest attack? Two-handed sword, glaive. The glaive would be faster than the two-handed sword. The axe would be faster. The flail is even faster. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an initiative roll for the bad guys versus the good guys, and that determines what happens next, okay? So we're going to do bad guys versus good guys. So good guys, best do bad guys first. 6, 7, 9, 10, 11. So bad guys, the frost giants, at 12. And good guys are all, everyone's kind of like, you attack, no, you attack. Everyone's trying to figure out what to do. So the giant actually gets a chance to do something. I'm going to have him just move through and try to head through this way. Now, when he does that, he's going to provoke an attack of opportunity for both of these characters as he goes by. But I don't know whether, if they hit him, he'll die because he only has 8 health. But he's just desperately trying to run at full gait away from this people killing him. All right? That means Zalaris, remember, Zalaris can only miss on a 1. And there's another 1. What are the odds? So he turns around with his glaive and takes a swipe at this guy and completely misses. This is 2 complete flat-footed 1s back-to-back for Zalaris. He's got a dexterity of 15. I'm going to make him make a disadvantage check against his dexterity. I'm going to add 5 to this, okay? So he needs to roll, normally he would roll 15 or less. He has to roll 10 or less to not fall down. Okay, he rolls a 10 or less. He maintains his balance, so I'm going to have him stumble 1 step forward. This guy pushes the cleric out of the way. The cleric gets to take a swipe at him as he goes by, and Tolo might get a killing blow in the back of a kneecap. So to hit AC 10, he only needs a 10. These guys are AC 4. He needs a 6. 6 or higher, he hits the guy. It's 2d4 plus 4 because he's using a +4 flail. So we got 2 and 3 plus 4 is 7. This guy's down to 1 hit point. This is just enough for him to stagger and stumble against the wall. I'm just going to say that the cleric gets to go ahead and hit him again. Let's just roll a d20. A natural 20, kook, hit him in the back of the spine, crumples, and makes him crush and fall to the floor. Very dramatic. Sometimes being a cleric is fun. The cleric just manhandled this dude in the back. All right, great. So these guys are dead. Now, what's happened? Let me just do some checks behind the scenes here because I know what's going on in the next chamber. And if you've seen my map drawing episode, you know what's down the hallway, okay? You also know what's going on down the hallway, if you've been cheating, is very loud and very noisy. So I got to do 2 checks for the 2 guys that are still in the next room. I'm going to let you see the rolls because I'm going to keep it on the up and up. In fact, I'll tell you what the roll is going to be. If either one of these dice are 15 or higher, more people are coming, okay? And that means each one of these equals 1 of them at a time. 15 or higher. There's 1 frost giant coming. There's a 13. So only 1 more frost giant's coming. So what we have a situation is this guy, Frost Giant, we're going to get a new one because everyone's dead over there, a bloody mess. One guy comes barreling into the gate and sees what's going on here, sees her back turned, sees his back turned, sees us in distance, the torchlight's illuminated here. He's going to turn and run back into the hallway, but the moment he does that, Elafonissi is going to move and try to hit him from behind and stun him. I'm going to make this a flat-footed attack because he's not actively defending. For a flat-footed attacker, and I'm going to just take away 2 from his armor class, because not like he's not wearing nothing. You're not hitting someone naked. Okay, so if Elafonissi to AC 0, she needs a 14. These guys are AC 4. That means she only needs a 10. I'm going to give her a bonus of 2. That means she only needs an 8. All right, and she's doing this open hand. That means main hand, off hand. So she's going to try to jab this guy with a right cross and maybe give him a left hook in the ribs to try to stun him, maybe a kidney shot. All right, so her main hand is the opaque die. Okay, her main hand is a 10. That's a hit. Her offhand's a 9. That's also a hit. So she hits him, but she doesn't stun him. Now her damage isn't the most amazing damage in the world. It's just 3 to 13, which is 2d6 plus 1. We're going to do that twice. So we're going to add 2 to all these 4-siders, okay? In fact, we're just going to try to roll the dice in this area here so you can see. All right. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7, add 2. That's not very much damage at all. At all. That's only 9. That's really not good. You really need a stun on this kid. Put this down to 71. All right. So this guy's just going to run. She hit him from the back. Obscura's going to be able to take a step here. This guy's going to continue to flee. Now we're getting to a situation where we're getting off camera. I'm going to pull the camera back a little bit so you can see what's happening here. She's going to pursue him and take another attack in the back. Obscura's going to run forward to the gate here and start casting a spell on this guy. So what could she pull off by looking between the cracks in these huge, big boards? I'm going to have her cast Paralyzation, all right, which is a short-range spell. She's going to cast Paralyzation on this guy and see if she can get him stunned. I'm going to give the Giant a saving throw versus spell. Let's get up here to as a fighter. Have him save. This is our DM's guide. As a fighter, level 10 fighter. That's attack. We need the saving throw table. Let's go down here. That's to hit table. Here we go. Have him save versus Paralyzation. As a fighter, level 10. Needs an 8 or higher. He'll probably save this quite easily. It's a little short-range spell she's going to cast on him. Where's the d20 for the baddies? Let's get a red die for him. 8 or higher, he saves. 9, he saves. Her spell doesn't affect him. Elafonissi's going to get 2 more attacks from behind. We're going to use the red as the main hand. Okay. Let's just go back to the sheets for the characters. Let's get Elafonissi up here. There we go. Here she is. Remember, if she gets 5 or higher, she gets to stun this guy in the back. There's a stun. There's a stun. There we go. There's a stun. So here it is right here, okay? In all its glory. Now we can move things in a little closer, let you see all the fun, right? So here's a nasty hit here. Nasty hit. So if a monk, you can see on her character sheet, if a monk rolls 5 or higher than their needed to hit roll, they stun the target. And the stun is a 1d6 number of segments. So segment 6 seconds. There's 2 stuns there. We're going to add these together additively. So 6 and 4 is 10. That's 10. That's 1 minute. This guy's been hit in the back, knocked down. I'm actually going to make him make a disadvantage roll against a crappy dexterity of 8. He needs to roll 8 or less on a d20. He rolls a 13. He actually stumbles and falls. I'm going to have him fall here. I'm going to keep him on screen this way, pulling the map out a little bit for you so you can see. This guy is stumbled and knocked to the ground. Elafonissi is going to come over here and try to kill this guy while he's on the ground. The druid's going to come around the corner and run into this area as well and try to kill him on the ground. Obscura's going to come to here. She's going to yell to her friends that, hey, help. They're going to turn and see what's going on. Vrendra's going to take a step on the table and go 1, 2, 3, 4. And Obscura's going to take a step back, let him go through the room. The druid's going to swing around this way, and I'm just going to give them a chance to roll. I'm going to give them 1 full round of chopping attacks on this guy because it might wake him back up. So we're going to start it with Elafonissi. Main hand and offhand unless she restuns. The 3 is a miss. The 14 is a hit. That's an additional stun. So she basically hits him in the head. It's like Conor McGregor hitting Aldo in the head for another 18. 3 times 6 is 18 seconds. So her damage is 2d6 plus 2d6 plus 1. Let's just do her damage. She does 5, 6, and then on to 12. Let's take the 12 off the 71. Gotta add the damage up. It's kind of like a race against time. 71 minus 12. That gives us a 69. That puts him down to 60. Excuse me. 71 minus 12. 71 minus 12. 59. Excuse me, I misread that. So that puts him down to 59. The druid's going to get a swing at him. They're only doing the swings to see if it's double damage, okay? The reason why I did the swing for the monk is because so she hits him. It's not a double damage swing. Her damage for the druid is only 1d8 plus 4. Here's the druid for you so you can keep it honest. She's using a scimitar. 1d8 on, yep, 1d8 plus 2. Yes, plus 2, excuse me. That gives another 8 damage on this guy. 59 minus 8 is 51. Is this guy going to live? Vrenjar gets to come on the scene. Let's get these dice organized out of the way. Main hand, off hand. I'm going to have this as a surprise backstab again, okay, because the guy's not defending himself. Take 2 off of this. Well, that didn't roll properly, excuse me. It's the same number anyway. Take 2 off of that's a 6. Now, does that hit? The guys can't fight back. I'm going to make that a rule, and he can hit, no problem. And then offhand. So his damage is really nasty. Both axes on the neck to try to kill this guy in one hit. 1d8 plus 13. Let's do this right here for you so you see it. I'll put it down here a little closer to the camera. So each one of these gets 13 added to it, okay? So the 2 and a 13 plus the 13. This is 15. That's this one. Times 4. And this is 8 plus 13, which is 21. Times 4, which is 84. 84. And the 15 times 4 is 60. Right? 2 15s is a 30 times the new again 60 and 84 is way slaughters this guy. This guy's dead. Completely dead. He's wiped out, slaughtered on the ground. Leave the corpse there. Withdraw back into the room tactically. Reassess the situation. Don't do anything ridiculous. So get these dice off the screen and clean up a little bit. Let's clean some chicken scratches up. Alright. 4 frost giants down. This guy's dead. This guy's dead. Mercedes going to take a step forward. The druid comes to here. They're going to confer real quickly. There's more down there. What we need to do. And just about the time that that's going on, the cleric turns around. Is anyone hurt? She can start healing Zolorus again. Let's get another set of heals on him. Let's get a 3d8 heal on him. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So let's put another 9 heal on Zolorus. That 9 plus the 119. That'll put him at 128. So he's doing okay. And just about the time that everyone's gathering their thoughts here, trying to figure out what to do. Mercedes here, like, what's going on? What did you see? Obscura comes to here. Everyone's kind of got their backs turned to the situation here. Let's do what I'm going to call a perception check. Okay? So there's an unknown entity moving through the environment like this. Okay? And it's working its way slowly like this. Okay? And it seems to have come from this direction here. So when it first moves across here, when it gets here, the light from this torchlight is enough to illuminate it. So who has line of sight to that? Elafonissi would see it. Vrenjar's looking the wrong way. The druid could see it. The Mercedes looking this way. Obscura would see it. The cleric wouldn't see it, and Zolorus wouldn't see it. So that means we need to do a check for Elafonissi, who's very close to the unknown moving entity. Then we'll do a check for the druid, and then we'll do a check for Obscura. So it's almost like doing a skill check when you don't have a skill check. So I'm actually going to have this as a d20 roll with a 5 penalty against your intelligence. Okay? And the reason why it's going to be your intelligence is because I know what this is, and if you do figure it out, then you'll be able to tell, you'll tell momentarily what it is. So Elafonissi, her intelligence is, what, 12? That means she needs to roll a 12 or less on this d20, but we're giving her 5 penalty, so we're going to have 17. That means, actually, we do it the other way around. So here's how you do it. So you got a 12 intelligence. I'm going to give you a penalty of, and you need to roll 12 or less. So less than. X needs to be less than 12, not greater than. For you to detect something, X needs to be less than 12, less than your intelligence on a d20. Okay, on a d20. I give you a penalty here of 5. That means it needs to be even less. Okay, so take 5 away from that. It needs to be less than 7. So X needs to be less than 7 for her to perceive what this unknown entity is moving. There's Elafonissi's check. A 13. So she thinks she sees something out of the corner of her eye, but not enough to notice it. Now we get the Druid. The Druid's further away. Her penalty is going to be -8. Okay. The Druid has got an intelligence of 14. So she would normally need to roll 14 or less. X needs to go less than 14. We said we're going to give her a penalty of 8. She needs to roll 6 or less. 14. She doesn't. She sees something, but it just looks like torch smoke. So she doesn't tell what that is. Last, we have Obscura, who's the most intelligent person in the entire group. She's our last hope here. Somebody's going to slip past them. They're not going to realize it. 18 intelligence. I'm not going to give her a disadvantage of range or anything because of her high intelligence. She'll be very perceptive, but I'm going to give her the same negative bonus that Mercedes had, but Elafonissi had. But here's something about this. This is an illusionist. This is an illusionist that might be able to recognize what spell effect is on this entity. Okay, she's not a magic user. She's not a cleric. She's not a demigorgon. I'm going to remove the penalty of her not being able to identify this. But I still want it to be hard. So I'm going to give her a penalty of 4. All right? So her X needs to equal less than or equal to her intelligence, which is 18 on D20. But let's make that take away 4, so 14 or less. If she can get a 14 or less, she'll be able to tell everyone around her what she just sees. Ready? Here's a moment of truth. Here we go. A 15. Oh, so she sees something moving, but she's like, it's just smoke. So this unknown entity moves down and disappears from sight. I'm not even going to tell you which way it goes because you can't see. So no one really, that takes like 1 millisecond. And Brinjo's like, I suggest we have a quick plan of what we do here. We're going to stop this episode here and go on to the next one. It's about an hour at hour mark. We'll do the next episode later on. Maybe tomorrow sometime. So what's the plan? So all the kids are together. They got this mess here. Any giants that come into this room here, the Druid's like, anything that comes in the room, this is a great choke point. They run forward. They see their dead friends. We need to push down that way. We can't take a risk of them. If the child is down there, we can't take a risk. That's part of the original storyline. They're trying to, save this abducted child. We should hold back here and send the 2 stealthers down there to go check things out. Mercedes says, I agree completely. But the moment you see anything, the cleric steps forward. Let's have a conversation. Zoller stays in the back and checks the flank. Elafonissi is here. So Elafonissi and Vrinjar both need to go downfield. Obscura's like, if you want me to come with you, I can tell you what they're saying. What I can do is, I can cast invisibility on myself, and I can go down there by myself and tell you everything they're saying and tell you at the halfway point. So that's her suggestion. So that's option number 1. So let's write this down. Option number 1, just Obscura. Doing a Frodo type of a deal, right? Invisible by herself. Option number 2, send the monk plus the assassin, stealth. And option number 3, the Druid says I could shapeshift into, a creature and move like a mouse or a cat or a wolf or something that can move down the hallway, like a winter wolf, something that move down the hallway quickly and take a look and sniff and tell what's going on and come back, which is not as good of an option, but we're going to call this a shapeshift option. The goal is to find out what's going on down this way. Does anyone else been alerted? Okay, so one guy came, that means more may or may not be alerted. Since this guy doesn't come back, maybe they aren't alerted, so they're not sure what to do. So let's do some dice rolls for this. So here's what we're going to do. Obscura is pretty good at convincing people. So option 1, let's do the good old-fashioned charisma check thing. So this one here about the stealthers, let's do the lowest charisma, Vrinjar, the highest charisma of Vrinjar and Elafonissi. So Vrinjar's charisma is only 12, and Elafonissi's is 15, so she would be doing the talking. So she's saying, this is what we should do. The 2 of us can go down there. We've been doing this whole adventure. So if she rolls a 15 or less on 3d6, she believes in her convictions. Okay, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that is an 11 versus a 15. It's a difference of a delta of 4. And for Obscura, her charisma is 16. 6, 7, 8, 9. That's a 9 versus a 16, which is a delta of 7. That's much more of a convincing argument. That leads us up to, and the druid who steps forward says, I can shapeshift down there safely into a sparrow or a bat and no one would ever see anything. So let's see what the druid's charisma is 15. So he's roll 15 or less, or argument's completely crap. In this situation, it's still 12, 13, 14. So that's a 14 versus the charisma of 15, which is only a delta of 1. So what I'm going to say here is that, so that determines everyone made their check. Let's use these differences as modifiers for the actual roll. I don't know if you can see that right. So here's what we're going to do. So Obscura's argument is the one that gets plus 7. Elafonissi's roll gets plus 4. And the shape-shifting difference only gets a bonus of 1. All right. High roll wins on this one. Let's do it as a d20 roll. Okay. So Obscura plus 7. 18 plus 7. 18 plus 7. What is that? 25? That's pretty powerful. And let's see what the monk, the stealther method, which is only plus 4. That's an 8. That's a loss. And the last one, which is the druid, which is plus 1. There's no way it can beat that score. All right, so they all agree. That's the plan. So Obscura, in our next episode, is she's going to cast invisibility on herself. She's using the Giant Slayer sword in her hand to figure out what's going on down this way. Okay? So let's get a quick picture of this business. And we'll have to take the picture later. So whatever else is going to do. The cleric, they're going to reposition themselves over here. He's going to stand guard here. Mercedes is going to get over here with the cleric and watch for guards here. Obscura is going to end up casting invisibility and hiding. Vrinjar is going to hide in shadows here. Elafonissi is going to hide in shadows over here. And the cleric is going to get here. So they've got a group here that can defend themselves, and a group here that can defend themselves. These are hidden shadows. They don't need to roll for it because no one's detecting them. And Obscura is going to be brave and head off down the hallway by herself. All right, that was a cool episode. We have some nastiness that some business got away with things, and that getting away, that entity that went by with the gray marker, that was not a good situation for them. I know what's happened there. If you know the module, you know what that was. If you don't know what that was, that means that Obscura may find herself in some serious trouble here shortly and by herself. That'd be very dramatic. Let's just see how well she can pull out the stops. Remember, the thing about Obscura that hasn't really been utilized is this Staff of Storms is an artifact item which allows her to cast Ice Storm 5 times a day for 3 rounds. She also has Phantasmal Killer, Shadow Monster, and Chaos. So if not being hit and not being killed with her low health of only 65, if she's able to freely cast spells, she could rock a whole room pretty heavily duty, unless they all save. Dumb giants, they don't usually save. All right, so the next episode will be episode 10, and we're getting much, much, much closer to the throne room. So this has been Classic DM. Hope you enjoy this episode. As always, let your friends know about the YouTube channel. We just hit 40 subscribers today. Yippee! I use the Patreon page all the time for tons and tons and tons of updates. So don't be intimidated about going to the Patreon page thinking that you got to pay money. You don't have to pay anything. I'm just using it because it makes a great website. I post stuff on Facebook. It says, hey, I posted a video. Here's a cool picture. It's kind of fun. I try to communicate and hang out with people on the different Facebook forums, such as the Old School Gamers and First Edition D&D and Greyheart Cartographers. And I do map drawing episodes. I got a new DM episode show I started that told you how I made this battle map and things like that. But if you really want to keep up to things, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is great. I mean, you have to get to 1,000 subscribers these days before there's ads, and I don't really care about ads anyway. I probably never use them. But what I'd like to see happen is I'd like to see some of you guys who are enjoying the show and getting into it make your Patreon account and just like my postings and interact with me there by saying, hey, this is really cool in this one episode. You made this one roll. I don't like it that way. I would do it this way. I welcome that kind of conversation. Reddit's too much of a pain. I tried using Reddit to communicate with people, but it was just awkward. Stuff gets pushed and buried in the weeds. So don't be afraid to go to the Patreon stuff and share what you think about the episodes. Put comments on YouTube. They're always fun to hear compliments and suggestions. And if I happen to see you on the Facebook forums, say hello. And in fact, tonight Jeff D was on one of the forums and he got to say some stuff. And it's cool to see this guy still going after all these years. His drawings are magnificent. All right, that's it for this episode. I'll quit rambling on. Hope you had fun. Let's hope the Obscura doesn't get slaughtered. She's off by herself. That'll be real interesting to handle it. We may run the next episode with just her by herself in the next area with no one else around. That'll be the first time that's happened with the party separated, except for when the druid one time fell in the Remorhaz pit. All right, that's it for now. We'll talk to you soon. This classic DM episode 10 is coming up next. Take care.